Hi, I'm Dave from boyinaband.com, and welcome to day 6 of my 7-day song tutorial on drum and bass. Yesterday we added a plucked lead synth to the verse to add a focal point and structured the song. Today we'll be adding some sweet effects to make the track more interesting, including an awesome pitch bend up synth. Okay, let's begin. We'll start with that pitch bending synth, so right click and create a combinator, name it pitch bend synth, and create a Thor instance inside. Initialize it, right click and initialize patch, and show the programmer, and make 3 multi-oscillators, all detuned a little bit, and in a 3-octave spread. If we keep that one there, take one up and take that up 2 octaves, and then send them through with the 2 and 3 buttons. Now I'll just make some notes in the reason sequencer here. Okay, I'll just put one down here, double click it, and then I'll just make a 4-bar octave G chord. So in that G and G below it. So if I'll loop that for us, so that's on number 29 and 33, and yeah, we'll see how this builds up then. So we've got this to start with. Now take the low pass filter frequency to full, so it starts out on a high frequency. We're going to modulate this in a bit, and I'll just stop this while we set it up, and take the resonance to about half. Now create a state variable filter here, and turn it onto high pass mode with the frequency at around 350 Hz, something like that, and the resonance, make it nice and high, around 90, something like that. Now turn on delay in the chorus, and make it a bit more dry than wet, so it's still fairly prominent, and turn the sustain on the amp level to full. Now I'll explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to use LFO1 to modulate the low pass filter to create a wah-wah or wobble effect similar to the bass lines in dubstep. I'll use LFO2 to bend the pitch up over the 4 bars, since this is a 4-bar long note. I'll also use LFO to increase the rate of LFO1 so the wobble speed increases as the pitch goes up, making the synth seriously intense. And lastly, I'll use LFO2 to modulate the state variable filter, so as the pitch goes up, I also filter out the low end so the focus is on the higher frequency when the synth is on a higher pitch. Now it sounds complicated, but I'll show you one step at a time and it'll all become clear. So, set LFO1 to key sync and LFO2 to both key sync and tempo sync. Now, key sync means that the LFO starts oscillating when a note is played by the synth. This makes sure that what you hear is consistent no matter where you place the note in the track. Turn the rate of LFO1 to about 3 Hz, something like that, and turn the rate of LFO2 to 4:1. That's 4 bars. Also change the waveform to waveform 7. This is an exponentially increasing curve, similar to that of a hyperbolic graph. Yay, my A-level maths has finally paid off. But yes, now we start to link the LFOs to the functions. Route LFO1, 100% to the filter 1 frequency. Filter 1 frequency. Now, if we have a listen to that, I'll just move to the point. Now you can hear that wobbling now nicely. Okay. Next, we're going to route LFO2 to LFO1, the rate of LFO1, in order to make it increase. So if you listen to that, notice how it speeds up the wobbling. It's pretty cool, huh? Okay, now for the pitch. On the right here, when you can link one source to 2 functions, link LFO2 to oscillator 1 pitch, and oscillator 2 pitch, and shockingly enough, oscillator 3 pitch as well. And remember, 100%. Now if we have a listen, when it loops round, the pitch goes up, and the low pass filter is modulated as well. And last but not least, we're going to link LFO 2 with the remaining destination to filter 3 frequency by around 100% as well. Now that's a pretty cool effect. And we're done. That's some pretty complex routing you've just done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Alright, now onto the effects. Right click and create a combinator and name it FX. I like the letter X, it's intense. Right click and create a line mixer 6:2 and a redrum drum computer. Now I'm just going to load up a sample pack I've made for this occasion, using some samples from the Dubstep Producer sample pack actually, which is pretty good. I've got two different swell samples which I'll combine with my pitch bend to build up to the drops. I've also got a nice atmospheric sample there to fill out the tune, and this lasery kind of sample which is pretty cool. Now, notice how all the samples have the decay gate mode set to the pulse wave? This means that the samples will only play for as long as the note is held down, rather than the note triggering the entire sample. For a more detailed explanation of how this works, along with making different note lanes for each channel, head over to day 2 of my 7-day song dubstep tutorial. That frees me up some time to tell you that effects can be the difference between a good track and a great one. Put them in your intros and outros to stop them being too dull and repetitive. Also, a good effects sample can fill out big parts in the track, like I'll be using this atmospheric one, to fill out the drops. So, I'll just put in some notes and show you the difference between having effects and not in the build-up to the drop, so give me a second now. Right, here's an example without the effects. It doesn't really build up, does it? And now if we have a listen with the effects, quite a difference, huh? Lastly, I'll add in another break to add a bit of variety before the second drop. Right click, combinator, name it break loop. Inside it we're going to create a Dr. Rex instance and also a compressor, M-class compressor. Now I'm just going to choose a sample, again from the drum and bass drum loops sample pack, like my other loops in here. Okay, so I've chosen this saturation break from the Prime Loops drum and bass drum loops sample pack, and I'm going to compress the crap out of it right now. So if I take the threshold right down to minus 30 dB and put the ratio to infinite, if we have a listen to it now, turn the input gain right up, you can hear that that's much more intense than it was before. So without the compressor it's louder but has more dynamic range, and with it on it's quieter but more intense. A compressor reduces the louder parts of a sound to a specified threshold here, making the sounds a more consistent level, which, when used harshly, gives this cool, consistent volume effect, which is ace on the more abrasive drum and bass drum loops. The attack allows the loud sounds to still hit hard at their normal level. Here is the attack, but then be brought down to the level you define, so you can still get some of the dynamic range. Okay, so I'll just put some of that in the drop, just before the second drop here. Okay, I'll just show you what that sounds like now. Yeah, so that's a nice break into the drop there. Those new breaks kind of teasing the listener about what the drop is going to sound like, along with the bass lines which I've put in there, and I've taken out the drum loops there just to emphasize these ones. And I also put in some drum hits from the normal beat just to make it a bit more intense, and I might do that throughout the verse or bring it in halfway through just to build it up a bit. So okay, there we have it, some cool effects and fills to add to your track to make it more interesting than a philosophical chat with Stephen Fry. Tune in tomorrow for day 7, where I'll be explaining to you how I mix and master the track, and then showing the final finished drum and bass 7-day song. Until then, finish off all the musical elements to your track so you're ready to mix and master your song tomorrow, then post it as a video response to day 7's video. See you tomorrow. If you found this tutorial useful, help me out by rating this video or posting a comment so other people can find it.
And don't forget to check out my website, boyinaband.com. Have a nice day!